Hey, Michaela.
Yes, Warwick.
You ever been pulled over for speeding?
Mm-hmm.
Did you try and make an excuse, or did you just cop it on the chin?
Well, it was on an off-ramp.
Here we go.
It was an off-ramp. And it was like 110 to 80 to 60. And then you get to the roundabout. They got me in the 80 zone.
Doing?
90 something. But they obviously sit there. It wasn't like I was dangerously speeding in a side street and stuff.
Did you make an excuse?
So
When they said, what's your reason for speeding? What'd you say?
Oh, I just didn't see the signs. Like, I'm on the off-ramp. I'm slowing down. That was a dodgy revenue raising. And then once, I don't know, for people who live in Brisbane, there's the speed camera on the Story Bridge, the permanent one. And I'd go, why would any idiot ever get a speed ticket there? Because it's always there, like, you know, and I did.
Welcome to the Tradies Business Show, helping you get off the tools and into true business ownership, so you can spend more time doing the things that matter most. Now, here are your hosts, Warwick Bidwell and Michaela Clark.
So, welcome to the Tradies Business Show. I just realised I say so a lot, and now everybody's going to hear it.
Yeah, and I notice, like, when we listen back to our episodes, we always say, so Warwick, or so Michaela. We really need to come up with them at the very top.
Like, oi, or...
Just ask the question, maybe.
Just, yeah.
Sorry for our creative content
we're
performance review for the
just
year.
coaching each other on air. And it's recorded, and we still made the decision to put this up there. G'day, listeners. Great to have you with us. Hope you're having a fantastic week. And hope you haven't been booked for speeding lately.
No.
Or that if you were, you had a better reason than Michaela. Or a better excuse than Michaela.
Yeah, or didn't.
Yeah, I don't get the fixed camera thing.
Well, I think, how stupid. People aren't going to speed through there because they know it's there. And then...
But it's a good it's a good example of how we just get so tuned out to the world around us that we know there's a fixed camera there, but we're just so either engrossed in our own world or so zoned out, which is scary. If you don't remember there's a fixed camera, it's like, did you actually see all the cars you went past? But you think about marketing, when people do branding campaigns, that's how people drive their cars, is they don't see stuff. So to spend money on it, I had an argument with a client years ago about a billboard. And this was in a regional town, and he wouldn't take his billboard advertising down because the one competitor in town would have put his ad up. So it was a complete ego-based decision.
Defensive.
30 grand a year. How does that make sense?
You never want to go on a road trip with me because I get that annoyed at billboards on the side of the road that have small writing. Or like you can't read. Like, what the stupid point of that is?
Waste of money.
What a waste of money. I'll go on my little rant all the time.
They had a dodgy designer doing the artwork for that one.
What were they thinking?
So I'm going to try and segue that into your little sharing session today, Michaela. You've been thinking about this for a little while.
Yes.
And you're going to spill the beans today on something. Yeah,
well, I don't know if you hopefully have been a previous listener to the Tradies Business Show over our last 100 and something episodes. Yeah. You would have mentioned us talk about my company, Tradies VA. And basically, it is a phone answering and admin support company that was built for tradies because we know you guys are terrible at that. And we're in a nice way, yeah.
Focus on your strengths.
That's right. And so I haven't mentioned it for a little while. And a couple of people are saying, oh, it's funny, we haven't heard you talk about it on the show, what's going on. And so I actually closed the business.
Hang on. When were you going to tell me about this?
Now? No time like the present.
I thought you were going to share something else. No, just kidding. So tell us more, Michaela. Tell our listeners more about it.
Yeah, so I'd spent the last couple of years growing this baby that has been Tradies VA, and it really did consume a lot of my time, and I had a really strong passion for this, and I know that a lot of our listeners can be running their business easier. I just knew there was a need and a market there, and everyone said, oh, this is fantastic, what a great idea. And
it was a fabulous idea.
Yeah.
Which is why I jumped on board and got involved with that business with you as well.
Yes.
To help promote it and build it, and it was getting some good traction, and then you shot it.
Well, actually, I spent a lot of time promoting the business, building up, getting some partnerships in place, and basically I created a monster.
How so?
Well, because you know what? I've realised in the last couple of years I'm not the best people manager.
Get out of here.
No. I actually don't manage
That's why you
staff
like
very well.
podcasting, hey?
Yes. I actually don't like managing staff very well, and I do have some patience issues that you're helping me work on. But instead of working
Duncan
on those
needs to listen to this episode.
No, he does not. I actually created a business I didn't enjoy.
Yuck.
You know, and it was growing and it was getting more attention and more clients coming on board, and it was just getting harder with staff. It was a hard business to run. And I know we talk about, you know, oh, well, that's just running a business and all the mindset stuff. But
Suck
it went
it up and get over it.
Yeah, but it was more than that. Like, it got to the point where I was dreading the phone ringing. I was dreading the emails coming in because of staffing issues, or, you know, it was just constantly. So I'd actually created a business that I thought I would love, and I didn't like it at all.
I think with that, it's almost like you created a business around an idea that you loved and a solution that you were passionate about. And I loved the solution as well, but I didn't love the staffing issues and managing quality and all those sorts of things that, as the business grew, started to become quite apparent that would take up more and more of your time especially, but, you know, with my involvement as well, that was becoming the topic of our conversations and our frustrations as well.
Yeah, and I mean, it's certainly something we could have managed and built in more systems and all that, but it was a bigger picture than that. Like, the business was starting to get, you know, grow quite rapidly and fast, which was great. But if I actually went back and, you know, last episode with Selena Scoble, she talked about creating a business and life that you love. And the business I was creating was exactly opposite to the life I wanted to create. You know, and I just realised, you know what, it was starting to cause problems at home with the kids and the marriage, with the stress and cash flow and staffing, and it was just, you know, because we provided a lot of support at all hours, and it just became a nightmare, to be honest. And yeah, I could have stuck at it and built it up more and employed more managers and really made the beast, but in the end it wasn't something I was passionate about anymore. So made the decision basically over a weekend that I'd had enough. It was a little bit of a surprise to some, but...
Well, what was the time frame, though, leading up to that decision point?
It probably had been a few weeks or a few months that it was going away in the back of my head that, oh, look, I really didn't want a business like this. You know, if you ask me, my ideal business was one with no staff, no clients, and I can only work a couple of hours a day, which to most people is their dream business. But I was creating the opposite. And, you know, I love doing stuff for the podcasts and other more passive ways of earning money. And all of a sudden it wasn't as passive as I was wanting it to be.
Yep.
And, you know, a lot of opportunities were coming up, and it was just about, okay, do we really put the foot down and go for it, or do we go, you know what, actually this is not what I want, it doesn't make me happy. And so I actually hadn't actually talked to you, my business partner, about it really at all.
This is the thing about being a minority interest in a company. It's like, you know
really
what, you get no say.
So I hope I didn't do it I think I might have done it by text message. I can't remember.
We broke up via text.
Yeah.
Hey, so long as you don't ditch me as your co-host of the Tradie Show, I'm fine.
No, I don't know how to edit, so or use all the equipment.
Yep.
But I just thought, you know, and so I made the decision, and this is really what, you know, that I wanted to talk about was, you know, are you creating a business that you love?
And I know you've actually agonised for 2 or 3 weeks now about whether or not to even have this conversation with our listeners and share this publicly, because this, I imagine, is fairly confronting for you. I mean, this was your baby, as you said earlier. I feel like you're in the hot seat here, Michaela. It's like I'm interviewing you. This is cool. Yeah. We should do this more often. But I know you've agonised about doing this episode for a little while. Just tell us what's behind that for you. Like, why has this been such an issue? Like, it's no big deal. So you stopped doing a business. So what?
Well, you know, it was part of my identity. You know, this is all my ego talking, but it was part of my identity. I started speaking about the success that the business had had. I was really starting to, get the name and the brand out there. And so all of a sudden to say, oh no, it's not in operation anymore, was all these, thoughts that people are going to think I'm a failure and, I can't manage a business and rah, rah, rah. So it was all ego talking what other people are going to say. I'm happy with the decision. My husband's really happy about the decision.
He's stoked about it.
Because he used to hear me.
And he gets to see you a bit more.
He does. And I do have more afternoon naps, which he's not overly happy about. But anyway. But it was my ego going, I don't want people to think, who gives a shit what people think? Like, I made a decision that I'm happy about.
Exactly.
And I am going to create a life and a business that I love and actually end up making more money than what I was. Not that that's what it was about, but it didn't bring me joy, so why keep something in my life that didn't serve me? But I was so worried about what the industry would think and the contacts that I'd made that, it would do that tall poppy, well, not the tall poppy, but the, she's...
Yep, a failure.
A failure.
Yep.
And actually it took a lot of courage to walk away from some big opportunities.
And, I see a big contrast between your decision, Michaela, and when you did tell me, I actually felt really happy for you. As much as I was disappointed that, we weren't going to continue on with the implementation of that idea, because I think it's a great idea. But that's the thing in life, sometimes saying no and quitting things is actually harder than being stubborn and just sticking at stuff when really deep down you know that it's probably time to call this. And I think the contrast between what you're sharing and our conversation with Selena on a previous episode, Selena Scoble, where, she rolled her ankle the day before play was due to start in the Olympics, that was kind of beyond her control. Like, you could put that down to just the universe wasn't really looking out for her at that point. Maybe she shouldn't have jumped next to her teammate or whatever. But it's like, she was almost able to, and she didn't do this, but those situations, like, well, that's just one of those things. But you have had to make a conscious choice to stop doing something and put yourself in that place of dealing with all of the head stuff about, oh God, what are people going to think and what are our listeners going to think and da-da-da-da. So, that I think is even more challenging and more confronting and probably takes a lot more courage, as you say.
Yeah, and look, there were some really great opportunities that were on the horizon with the business, and I think life could have been a lot easier, but I don't think it would have been. Like, this is the lies you keep telling yourself, if just this happens, but deep down I actually didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
So why spend time building something that on the outside is very successful and great and providing jobs and helping our clients out and really adding value? That's all great, but, some days I was miserable. I just didn't want to deal with it because, there were some really basic fundamental issues with some of the staffing issues that we had, and they kept repeating. And, we could have, like I said, kept putting more time and effort and resources into it. But in the end, if we're not loving when we get up in the morning and what we're providing, then why the hell are we doing it?
And so
And it probably started back, I know we've talked about this on the previous episode, my early midlife crisis was, we did a list about 40 things to do before I'm 40, which is August next year. And this all came up around then, like, hang on, I'm actually every day putting blood, sweat and tears into something I'm not loving anymore.
Yep.
And I'm sure a lot of our listeners go through this, it's when to quit and all that. And they keep saying, you read all these motivational quotes, never give up, you're nearly there, just hustle, hustle, hustle. And it's like, yeah, well, I just don't enjoy it anymore.
Well, that stuff's fine if overall I think your business is either aligned with who you are or want to be, or it's not that much of a departure from, like, if you're a tradie on the tools, for example, and you actually enjoy building houses or plumbing or tiling or whatever it is you're doing, then yes, you're going to have stress and you're going to have staff issues and all that sort of stuff. But if deep down you actually enjoy the fact that you do fix people's pipes, for example, it kind of, that gives you something that you can pull through all of the other crap.
Yeah.
But if it's really just getting too far away from who you are or who you want to be and how you want your life to be. I know we've got a listener and a member in the toolkit who has had something of a fairly, well, it's a fairly drastic shift in his vocation, and by all accounts, he's loving what he's doing now. And he's climbing around on roofs in the hot sun all day, and enjoys that more than in what he was doing previously. So it's same sort of thing. He's made a successful switch in vocation, and I think a lot of us avoid doing that in our businesses, in our jobs. I know I've stuck at jobs for way too long, and I see employees with my wingman clients that are just. I've actually chatted to a few employees, been given approval by my clients, but I've moved a few people on just by helping them make a decision that, I actually hate my job. Yeah. And it's affecting everybody else in the business. So once they've moved on, it changes the whole energy. Have you found that for you as well, Michaela? Like just doing this and making this decision, has your energy shifted?
Oh, dramatically. And probably I now regret taking so long to make the decision. Like I underlyingly knew it was there. But I do like helping tradies with their business and teaching things that we've learnt with running our trade business and things like that. But now I'm focusing on more providing better content here for the show and promoting the show. And that's another way of helping. So I'm still helping them just in a different way. And that's what I do enjoy doing. But it really just, I have found, so much clearer headspace and clarity around ideas. And, I'm completely open to new opportunities. Who knows what's going to happen? Before I worry, what am I going to do? And blah, blah, blah. But
yep, trying to be somebody that you thought you should be.
Yes. Because
you'd made a decision way back when. Yeah. It's like, well, I can't go back on that.
And who cares if I change my mind or don't want to do it? Like, seriously.
Exactly. As long as it's not every week. Like I say, just don't tell me next week that we're doing, well, I'd do a motorcycling podcast with you, but...
It would be very good.
I'm going to find a way to work motorcycling into every episode for the next little while.
But I'd love to challenge our listeners to really look at an area in their life that probably isn't serving them and have the courage to really make a decision about what you want to do with that. And, when I went through this, other things got caught up, other decisions I made and stuff like that. So it was a great liberating experience to know that now I'm putting my energies and focuses on things I love doing.
And it doesn't have to be as drastic as quitting a business, right? That's obviously what Michaela's sharing here, but it could be that you're continuing to do your own bookwork or, managing jobs on site, and it's doing your head in. What you really want to do is work on business development. Like there's small areas that we cling to because, well, I've always done that. So, if I stop doing it, I'm a quitter, or what are the guys or girls on site going to think? It's put all that crap aside, and it harks back to an episode we did recently about changing your mind, and just changing your headspace. Is just make the damn choice. Like, go sit on a rock somewhere and just be in that space of, am I actually happy with what I'm doing and where I'm going? What would I need to do to change that? And if that scares you, great, you should probably go and do it.
Oh, I'm terrified, but
we'll put a disclaimer at the end of this episode.
Yeah. But what's the really interesting thing about all this is I have partnered with another company to deliver services for our existing clients and some of the staff and things like that. So it certainly has been good. In the long run, I'm going to make more money in the end without the headaches by partnering with someone else. So have a look at the upsides. Yep. There's easier money to come, but it'll allow me to make money in other areas that I want to as well, or other opportunities. And it's not about the money, but it's just interesting that...
but that's one benefit of what you're doing.
Yeah. So...
Yep. Cool. So anything else you need to tell me about, Michaela? Like, you're not moving to Siberia or something?
No, but there has been something I've been meaning to tell you for a while. Oh. I don't know if I should do this on air or not, but
okay.
No.
Everyone's listening to that going, holy crap, what's she going to tell him?
Nearly end of the year, I've got to get rid of all this garbage in my life.
Just got to purge.
Yeah, just got to purge. And I'm actually writing a blog post about uncluttering your life and business and going through everything that I've gotten rid of. So everything from my marriage to my shoe closet to my business has not survived as it previously was. Mm-hmm. So my marriage has been.
Everything's on notice.
Everything's been on notice.
Even the dog.
I've sold houses. No, the dog's still staying.
The dog's still hanging in there.
Yes. And, you know, we've sold some properties and some assets that we never thought we would because they just weren't, you know, causing us stress or whatever. So I'm going for a simple 2016. I'm getting rid of all the shit this year.
Well, I have to say, and this is a gratuitous opportunity to talk about my motorcycle, but travelling on a bike, I can't carry as much crap. And so now when I go places, I can fit everything in a backpack or a tank bag. And it's amazing how economical I've become with, okay, so what are the most essential items here? And it's a really cool mindset to get into because I'm looking at other areas of my life like that. It's like, okay, do I need to bring the second laptop? Michaela's got a laptop. Let's just use yours and I'll leave the other one at home. Like, why am I carting this thing around? Whereas in my car, I had this massive box of stuff and a backpack and everything else and load it all in the back. It's ridiculous.
Another point I'd like to raise about the motorcycle is that hopefully no police are listening because we did talk about the speeding, but Warwick is a chronic Texas driver.
Yeah.
You are. You're terrible. So he texts a lot and does a lot while he's driving.
I use the voice to text thing.
Voice to text.
Yeah, but I still have to technically tap the phone once to get it started.
You're still not present on driving, let's
right.
just say.
Yeah.
And since he's had a motorcycle, there's gaps in communication for like 90 minutes.
It's great.
So
for all of us. Everybody's happy about that.
So by simplifying your life, look at the clarity.
Present, and I have to say, I've only had the thing for 4 days. I've had a bike before, but just feeling much more mentally free because I don't have all this stimulation all the time.
Yeah.
I'm going to get some headphones so I can at least listen to some tunes or a podcast or something while I'm riding. But I can't talk on the phone while I'm driving, even with the hands free. I just find it's quite draining. So it's nice just to have a bit of time of being absolutely present.
And something we've done is go through everything in the house. Like, I mean, every room in the house, and go, have we used this in the last 12 months?
If not.
And it doesn't bring us any joy. If it's a no, it's gone now. Do
you know, I heard a great thing about that, and we sort of drifted away from your sharing session here, but I heard a really cool thing that, like that, if you go through all your stuff and you look at each item or assess, you know, the things in your life, if when you look at them or touch them or think about them, they don't make you feel joyful, chuck them in the bin.
Yep.
And that includes people.
Or businesses.
Or businesses. So there you go. We did tie that off.
Yeah. So big declutter. But, you know, I've been afraid to tell people. That's been a really odd experience about worrying so much about what other people are going to think when I'm happy about it and it's the best for everybody. And here I am worrying about people I don't even know what they're going to think. So
exactly.
Just get over yourself, people.
And you too.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say that took cojones to share that, Michaela. I'm really proud of your decision and you, and stoked that, you know, you've got more time to focus on what I just see you so passionate about with the Tradies Business Show and the things that we're working on with our intention for 2016 around the Tradies Business Toolkit and some of the exciting stuff that we're working on there. So,
you just want me as your slave for full-time hours now.
Yeah, plus it means you can do shit for me while I'm on my motorbike.
That's right. I'm dedicated to you now, so if you leave me, I'm stuffed.
Well, listeners, I hope you got some good pointers out of that. Again, I want to publicly say a big shout out to Michaela for agreeing to let me record this. And
because he has asked me a few times, like, no, I'm not ready yet. I'm not yet ready yet. Like a counselling session.
If you are struggling or wrestling with a choice like this or something in your life or your business, we would love you to share it with us. Either drop us a voicemail at tradiesbusinessshow.com. You'll see the little SpeakPipe app on the website there. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll happily play it on the show so you can get your voice on the podcast. Or hit us on Facebook, Tradies Business Show, or just send us a message via the website, tradiesbusinessshow.com. So thanks for listening, and I think we should go to the bar now, drown our sorrows.
Radio?
No.
Oh, damn it.
Hooray.
You've been listening to the Tradies Business Show with Warwick Bidwell and Michaela Clark. Want to get off the tools and into true business ownership? Find out how at tradiesbusinessshow.com.